Hi, welcome back to another episode of A Fine Human, the podcast where we interview a fine human. Today, we have Vanessa Cuccia, who is the founder of Chakrubs, which is a company that Dame acquired. And we're going to explore everything from the relationship between crystals and sex and sensuality, how she came to start a whole business. We're going to explore her relationships, and also in the end we're going to talk a little bit about what that acquisition actually looked like. So if those are things that are interesting to you, stay tuned. I think you're going to learn a lot and also just feel the joyful, beautiful vibes of a wonderful human being, of a fine human being, if you will. Well, hey girl, I'm happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thanks.
So, oh my God. Let's start with this. I'm not going to lie. I don't feel 100% today.
Yeah.
This is my pajama shirt.
Looks great.
Thanks. You look great.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you here. Obviously, we've known each other for a really long time, and we've just been like business friends, and now we're business partners.
Yeah.
But would you introduce yourself?
Sure, I will. My name is Vanessa Cuccia.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi. I am the founder of Chakrubs.
What is Chakrubs?
So Chakrubs is the original crystal sex toy company. So they are essentially crystal wands for intimate use, though we have done other materials, but we did introduce crystal to the adult toy industry on a large scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful. I mean, obviously I love the products so much that we've now partnered together, and you can find them on Dame's site. So I feel like, crystals have been used as healing products for a very long time, and they've even been used like in the vagina, but nobody had really made them into wands that were more for like pleasure tools.
Yeah, they were, yoni eggs have been around obviously for centuries.
Yeah.
And they were historically made from jade. And so it's not necessarily a new concept. I mean, there's been phalluses made from crystal and very metaphysical stores and things like that. So when I sometimes say I'm the original crystal sex toy company, sometimes there's a backlash. Like, you didn't invent putting crystals in your vagina, but it is like,
I don't think anybody had them for like the tool of pleasure. Like yoni eggs, not that yoni eggs aren't a byproduct.
Essentially for pleasure.
But it's more like they're more like a training tool to then help you have better pleasure.
Exactly.
And not pee your pants. Versus really creating a product that's designed to have pleasure with.
This was designed to have pleasure with, and what Chakrubs did was really develop the philosophy behind it. So it's not solely a product. I think what made us stand out was that we spent so much time really addressing all the emotional and spiritual factors that was essentially like not even not discussed.
Which is so interesting because I feel like probably back in the day, are yoni eggs originally are they Chinese? Are they like Taoist in principle?
Yeah, there's definitely some mismatched education about it. So I don't necessarily,
because I'm also sure too, like whenever there's something that's really that old, that's been around for that long, it has more than one lineage or has like come in and out of different lineages. But I do absolutely, I love Taoism very much as just like a philosophy and something I've learned a lot from, and also the way they think about sex.
Yeah.
So to me, it kind of would make sense that if coming from the same culture to have this product, this like tool, that I would imagine it did originally have more of like this spiritual health understanding. And then when it became westernized, that kind of got lost. And then something came within you to like reconnect it to the now and the modern and, you know, the ways of the West-ish, but the ways of the East in there, you know?
Yeah, it did come from a place that was an epiphany type of moment.
What a fun epiphany.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about your epiphany?
Yeah, a lot of things led up to that moment, but essentially I was in my early 20s. I was living in LA, struggling actor and musician, renting my room and sleeping on the couch. And I was working like a bunch of jobs and my body was like exhausted, just like physically tired. And it was at that time when I had been dating somebody for 6 years. That relationship had a lot of toxicity.
Like from your teenage years?
Yeah, I started dating him when I was 17. He was 23. There were things like that. But in that relationship, I was kind of learning subconsciously that sex was for my partner.
Yeah.
I always thought I was going to love sex, but when I began my, journey in sex, I didn't enjoy it. So I was seeing it and learning subconsciously too that I was like his sex toy. And
I feel like so many women struggle with this and feel that way.
Yeah.
I once had a friend say she felt like, turned out she was gay, but she did say she felt like her partner was just jerking off inside of her.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
And there were moments when I was like, hey, I was trying to communicate. I was like, maybe we can bring a vibrator into the bed, things like that. But it was just not, there was a disconnect and I didn't have all the language, but at that time when I was working myself to the bone, like really just struggling, there was just this moment where I was like, my body is so exhausted. Sex should be a avenue that I could go on to feel good in my body.
Re-energizing.
Yes. And I was like, why isn't this?
Which is so interesting because like in Taoism, like our qi is about, it is about rejuvenation and recirculation of our life energy.
Yes.
So versus expelling it.
Right.
So you're totally right? Like, or in that concept, sex is supposed to be re-energizing.
Yeah. And it was just something that I was like, this is what it should be like. And why aren't I feeling that way? And so I say it's like my quarter life crisis because I was like in my early 20s, but that led me on a path of wanting to understand why I had let my boundaries kind of be so broken by this relationship and why I was disconnected from myself so much. And I took a job at the Pleasure Chest, an adult store in LA, and was around like all these people that were really knowledgeable. And I was in the web department and I would just like read in the background. But remember I said I was renting my room out. Right. I rented it to like the spiritual teacher guy. And it was one night and I went to a meeting that he was having with other spiritually minded people. And the house it was at had some crystals. And I was just like sitting and it hit me that crystals could be carved in a certain way. And I blurted out in this like spiritual meeting of the minds, like crystals would make a great sex toy. I was working at a sex toy shop. So everybody looked at me like I had 5 heads and they were like, how could this little girl like discuss about, using crystals in this way? And nobody said anything to me. So it was a really awkward moment, but I sat back.
And it wasn't like a sex spirituality forum.
No,
it was just like a general.
It was. They were talking about concepts that I had no idea about. It was beyond. But I just sat back, and the name Chakrubs popped into my head, and I did feel like there was something happening with all these crystals that were in this woman's house, as if they were speaking to me of like, yes, it is the time that people understand, like we are ready for this next iteration of healing, like feminine energy. And it just kind of snowballed. And from that, I just knew that that was something that I had to create.
Did you already know about chakras?
Well, I did because I had been studying them with that spiritual teacher.
So what are chakras?
Chakras are energy centers in the body. It's a Sanskrit term, and there's many different schools of thought about it. But the reason why I resonate with it so much is because I can sense them in my body. So it is different points in your body. The easiest one to kind of like pick up on is your heart, you know? So when you're in love, you feel that heart expanding energy.
Yeah.
So that's a way to explain it, but there's other areas that they occur.
I have felt that my second chakra is also quite easy to notice on occasion.
Yes.
You know, it's very
Yeah.
kind of can take over in, you know, my whole system. I've loved learning about my chakras and trying to sense them and feel them and just connect to my body through them. I feel like my solar plexus, like your gut, that gut feeling too feels real to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then you like kind of connected these concepts. You had this vision. I also like when you were talking earlier about feeling like, oh, am I really the, you know, like the backlash, like I feel that way too sometimes. Like I think that we're probably never truly the first fully, like you just can't be anymore.
Yeah.
But it's still powerful. You still did do something really original. Nobody else was doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that like, it took me a really long time to be like, yeah, we're the first female, like founded brand. There had in the category of making sex toys. And I don't know, but it's really powerful and it is true. There were there's one other company called Cal Exotics that is it wasn't originally founded by a woman is my understanding, though sometimes it's hard to really know the truth. But what we did was really original. There weren't two young women out there that were.
Well, you were the first like crowdfunded.
We were
campaign too,
sort
right?
of. Yes and no. See, I get so like nuanced about it, and it's hard. So we were the first. There was this other company called Auto Blow. That was a male-focused company, and they had run a very successful Indiegogo campaign before us.
Yeah.
Crave also ran one, but I don't know if it was before or after us. But
it doesn't.
But we were the first female one. And like, yeah, I think that was really, really powerful. And then we were the first ones to get Kickstarter to change their policy. And I do kind of feel like, I don't know, like both being able to claim nuance and then also be like, say it simply.
Yeah, because it took, of course, I don't want to we want everybody to feel comfortable and, all these things. But I realized, like what I say is true and there can be nuance.
Right.
There were crystal stone dildos made in like 2000 BC. I don't know. But like on a worldwide scale, like I know what I did. And I think it's really cool because Chakrubs has such a strong ethos in self-love. And so I've always felt like the more that I grew and accelerated Chakrubs, which was this company about self-love, I had to develop self-love.
I think that's really powerful. I feel that too, which is like, sometimes I think people think, oh, you must be fully healed, but actually the process is healing and you're trying to heal other people and you're healing yourself along the way. I, of course, do think that there's some level of like not being healed and trying to heal others that can be problematic.
Yeah.
But I think that that's so honest.
Well, no, I've always said like, I'm like, and that's why this was the success that it has been, because I always said like, this is what I'm learning. So when I started, it was like, I was just sharing anything that I was experiencing myself because I was working with Chakrubs and healing a lot of that sexual trauma that I mentioned with that boyfriend, and so I was just openly talking about it. And I think that was really powerful because I'd never really positioned myself as, I know what's up. It was more like, hey, look at this thing I just learned, and even talking about like, the chakra system and everything, that can be controversial too. But I enjoy this process of figuring things out in my own body and having this be my teacher. So certain things like with crystals is you can channel energy and messages from them if you get really deep into it. So a lot of the time what I do like to do is almost avoid a lot of the experts that we see about like these kinds of concepts. And I like to see what I can stumble upon within myself and then be like, this is what I'm finding, and then match it up. But like, I don't like doing it the opposite way.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so many things I want to say. One, I also think it's really cool that you kind of have to say original because you were copied, which I'm sure wasn't cool at the time. Right. But I do think so cool.
Yeah.
You've been copied.
Yeah.
People love the idea and other brands tried to do it too.
Yeah.
So I think that's so amazing.
Yeah. And that's okay, but at first it's really
hard when you're a small business.
It felt personal also when I'm sending product to people and then a few months later they title it their own thing, and because the original shape is, it's pretty simple. But people don't know. I sat in circles with friends and we drew and we had a bunch of things and that shape that was copied, people can find it but that was our shape.
I also feel too it's easy to, because I think it's a simple shape, but I would imagine, because I know this was true with Dane, a millimeter difference makes a big difference.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
These small changes really matter. And you can tell when somebody's really just straight up copied the shape.
Yeah.
I think that being influenced is one thing and trying to redefine it as your own. I mean, it is hard in the space to innovate. Oh my God, I have so many thoughts and feelings, both in feeling like people have copied Dame and also being accused of copying too.
Yeah. I think it's a huge thing that people go through. And when that was happening, there were so many feelings that would come up, And so what I had to do to kind of process that feeling was realize that Chakrubs is not my identity. Because I was identifying so hard with it, which I'm sure you can relate.
Yes.
Then realizing also, when that was happening is when I developed the forest line.
Which, by the way, is the wood line that I actually...
It's beautiful.
Also really speaks to me. I don't know. I think I'm maybe just a forest girl. Even though my human design says I'm a cave girl, which I'm always am I? But if maybe I'm even a cave.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I could see you being very fairy forest.
I feel more fairy forest.
Yeah.
But I love that line.
Yeah, so it's dyed with natural floral botanicals, sealed with lubrosity, which is Knob Essence patented, technology to make it completely smooth.
So it's sealed in a way that makes it body safe.
Yes. And, but so that was never done. There were wooden toys, but it was never infused with natural floral botanicals. Cara Marie Piazza did it here in Brooklyn. So my response to being copied was Are
we selling any of those right now?
We don't have.
We
should bring them back.
Bring them back. Okay.
People ask about them.
I feel I love them.
Yeah. But so it's this whole other thing. And that was my response of I am innovative. I am a conceptual artist.
So there was actually about being copied that made you realize that you can push yourself more and create more. That's really beautiful.
I was wait, this isn't my one thing. There are multiple things.
What really also helped me, so I remember one of the first times I really felt burned was a brand that I was closely working with who sold Dame products. They decided to become their own brand, meaning they started launching their own vibrators.
Yes.
And I was, there's just no better word than butthurt,
Yeah.
I was really butthurt.
Yeah.
I felt copied. I felt no, you guys are supposed to be our partner. And now we're direct competitors. and I gave you guys a better deal than I gave anybody else because we were friends.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like the biggest things I learned from that was one, like you can have friends in business, but like remember everybody, like the truth is like that team had shareholders.
Yeah.
They were doing their best to try and make it. It's hard out there.
Hard. Yeah.
You know, like they don't owe me things. They owe their shareholders and their company and their employees like a sustainable business. And that is just what they're trying to do. And I'm just going to have to try harder too and doing the things that I want to do. And I did not invent vibrators. Like I was going to just have to also get over being like the women founded, like a women-owned vibrator brand.
Yeah.
Like what, did I not want any other woman to come into the space?
Right.
Is that like what my ego was saying?
It's like, okay, as long as people are experiencing pleasure, all these things, it's like trying to remove yourself from it. But it is hard.
I really think that like you are not, your business is like, okay, great. I'm not going to take it personally.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing anything against me. And also removing myself from the mission. Like the mission isn't about me.
Yeah. But what is difficult, or what was difficult for me at this time, was
that it's hard out there.
That it's hard out there.
Bigger
companies, you know, were having more resources, you know. So I started in my early 20s. It was 2012 when I was getting going. And at that time I was struggling.
Yeah. How'd you have the money to even make your first round?
I didn't. I had, it was literally the smallest batch made. And I took a really long time. Any money that came in from selling one went right into buying two. And that's what I kept doing. And I never went those routes. And so sometimes it was like, you know, we have this pressure now because people that have a lot of resources do take from smaller companies.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big issue that a lot of artists, creative people experience. I feel like we've all experienced this. And so it is a minefield in how to get through it. It
is a minefield because I do think, okay, so we just talked a little bit about like how to like not feel competitive and how to like yada yada. Like Eva was an innovative product that has an IP patent. People have tried to knock it off. You know, like I'll send out like cease and desist, but like I don't have the funds. It's expensive too to go after.
Yeah,
it's hard, and there are bigger companies out there that can kind of just come in and take you out, and you do want to make sure you have protection. You have
protection legally at some point, but also it's just like when you are pure of heart. Like when people were copying Chakrubs, I never had to like post like, oh, this person is copying, you know, that kind of thing. But people did on my behalf.
Really?
Because people were with me since the beginning and they saw and they knew, and I was spoken up for. And that was a beautiful thing too, where it was like, oh, I'm actually not alone. And
people see it.
People see that. And people see the thing that I had was this whole philosophy behind it, was really caring about like what this meant on a larger philosophical scale rather than just a product. And I think that people really feel that. And that's always like what will give me strength. And I think what will give other people strength too is knowing that your integrity is everything.
I will say there was a really big company that did like knockoff Finn and made like a whole line of product that was very Dame, and it just went nowhere. There was no heart behind it.
Yeah, some of these companies, they're not even, a thing anymore.
They don't, So like, I think that's all, I do think being pure of heart fucking matters and does something because there was no heart behind that brand.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of like what customers really care about and identify with, and it matters too. And I don't know, like keep your head down, focus on what you can focus on, all of that. Do you feel like from where I stand, I feel like you not taking capital ever is also how the business ended up really getting to like continue on.
Yeah.
That's I mean, obviously I have a very specific perspective on this.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, I think so because of a few reasons.
You
know?
don't have any regrets. You do wish you ever took on.
No.
I wish more debt was available to you, like more.
Well, we had at certain points, like, some loan, when we got to a certain point. And I think that's also what led me a little bit astray, perhaps.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
say more.
I don't know. I haven't reflected too much on it because, I think things happened as they were meant to.
Okay.
Because now we're acquired by Dame, and this is something that feels really good for the progression.
Does it? It still feels good?
Yeah.
I haven't let you down too much yet?
No, we're just starting, babe.
We're just starting.
Yeah.
I do feel like you have a natural patience. That's really beautiful.
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, okay.
It's a good patient vibe.
I'm Pisces. Do I just like run around in a circle? Is that what that means?
No, you're a dreamer and you're gonna,
I'm a dreamer and then my moon's a Leo. And I think those combinations like boom.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, that's really great. But there's, no regrets. Sometimes, we've talked about this before where sometimes I do wonder, it's more about like the partners that I've chosen along the way.
Yeah.
Because I was so always focused on my brand that a partner kind of was like a secondary thought in my head. I didn't really care where they were at in their life. And I think about that, like, what if I actually went for people that were also ambitious or also like maybe could.
Do you mean like partners in business or partners in the bedroom?
Partners in the bedroom.
Like in the bedroom and love and
romantic
heart?
partners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of times it would hold something in me back because I never was with partners that were financially successful or, really truly ambitious and further along in their careers, which was fine for me because I was like the go-getter and doing all these things. And I just needed somebody to like give me some comfort every once in a while. But what if, that's more of where I
think every partner holds you back in some way because I feel like my partner is very ambitious and works really hard, and that was really great. That gave me permission to work really hard, encouraged me to work harder. Yeah, I was like, oh, I think I'm doing late nights, he's doing later nights, which is now harder as we have kids. Yeah. But where I feel held back by him is he's not a sharer. He is not like a creative person. I would have loved to have been sharing our romantic journey and like the fights we were having and the learnings from that. Like I really wanted to share that. Like back in the day, I had a little sex blog and he was like, we're not doing that, So I felt, so on the one hand, I feel like when you're hearing you talk, I'm like, wow, my partner really did support me in those ways. But before you were like, if you would, I can so clearly see the way I feel that he held me back, which also wasn't really him. I could also, to some extent, like figured out how to make that content and share those stories without his involvement, or, to some extent.
Yeah, there's no real, we don't know.
We don't know.
And
I think also like nobody really holds us back except for ourselves. Is the real truth. But yes, and there is something about being in partnership where they're going to impact us in some way.
Yeah.
So I think there's both like validity in what you're saying and also like, I don't know, whenever I sit with it where I'm like, oh, like something about my relationship is making me feel less happy. It's like, okay, well then like go out dance. Like I don't need
totally
anybody.
I know. Yeah. There's not really, can't really say that. It's just like the one thing that I'm like, oh, this was not something that I put any focus on. I kind of chose.
I also think if you're surrounding yourself with energy that of other people, like I think we all have really intense relationships with money. I have like really yet to meet somebody who's like, I don't know. It's a relationship. And
Yeah.
I think some people are being like, no, it's not. No, it is. Like we all have beliefs about money. I think that there's definitely a nice thread of people who feel like money is the root of all evil, which like there's a lot of indication that that's not wrong by all means. But I think that if that's a belief you really hold, and I find creatives who I'm guessing you dated a lot of, you know, they don't want money to get in the way of their creativity. They don't want, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but like that's hard to be around and then to be like, well, how do I do essentially capitalism?
They're fine with money when somebody else is making it, you know? And like yes, I had a lot of the creative type partners that were like, so brooding and, artistic and poetic. And I'm like, I am that too, by the way. Yeah, I am a creative, broody, very emotional person, but I also know how to run a business and get things taken care of.
Yeah.
It's like I've developed that. So it's just like finding somebody that can share in all those things is difficult. So it just would become an imbalance of like, okay, you're the passionate artist, so I'm going to be the one to like do the accounting stuff. Yeah. Because I can do that. But I'm also creating, and that's why we need accounting in the first place.
And I think accounting is creative in a lot of ways. Yes. I think that there's like a lot of creation that happens in numbers. Yes, I love you do. Yeah, I love actually, numbers. Yeah. Oh my God, we actually have. I'm like thinking about business things we need to talk about later. Yeah. Oh, you want water? You know what I didn't do? You can have water.
Can I have water?
You're allowed to have water. You know what? We can do it right now because I actually think it's not. I forgot because I'm like, bleh. But usually I start before we even do cameras rolling with like a little just like intention setting.
Oh.
Which is just like taking some breaths together, and also like if you need a break, you can take a break. If you like, oh my God, I said something I don't want to say, like let me know. We cut it out. We can cut this whole part out too. But like, yeah, I mean, we're here to like. I really like to think that this content or these stories are gonna help other people find their passion and go for it in some way. Yeah, and like help them live a fine life, whatever the fuck that means.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, okay, we kind of did it. Cool. I know taking breaths right now feels like really boring content for everybody else. Okay, wait. So, are you single right now?
I am single right now.
Are you? So she's on the market. If anybody's looking for like a sexy, witchy singer pianist who makes crystal sex toys. I know somebody. Based in Detroit. Just trying to get all the logistics in there too.
Thank you. Hit me up.
Yeah. Are you monogamous?
I'm Italian.
I love this. I've heard you say this before, and every time it fucking kills me. Okay. So you're Italian. Tell me more. What do you mean as a relationship? Concept of being Italian.
I know. I say that because I feel like
such a good name.
I feel like the conversation around non-monogamy is sometimes annoying to me. Like
you're allowed to be annoyed.
Yeah. But it's just if I was
is it annoying?
If I was to embed that into my life, I would be annoyed. I'm not annoyed at other people that do that.
Are you sure? I mean, you're allowed to be.
But, if I think that's my cheeky way of kind of saying I would rather the intrigue of an affair than all the other things that are meant to happen in an ethically non-monogamous relationship.
I think that is so such a hot take. I fucking love it. And as somebody that does practice like non-monogamy, I do kind of feel like being ethical about it does kind of also take something away from it. obviously it's great to be ethical. I don't think cheating is great, but even the flirting of it feeling forbidden.
Yeah, that's part of it. And the thing is that non-monogamy, it's like a religion. It's like you go on this path to learn something, and you for the people that understand it as such, you are educating yourself. You know about communicating. You're learning about jealousy from your partner and yourself. So I think it's fabulous for all those reasons. I don't really feel like doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like, if I'm going to, but the thing is, it's kind of, my last partner, this was kind of just an understanding. We were very flirtatious people. That was fine. And it was just kind of an unspoken thing. Like, if you want to be with somebody else, if there's a moment, go for that moment. If you're really feeling that, I love you so much. I don't want you to deny yourself of that.
Did you also want to get mad if you found out about it? Are we upset?
He would never.
He would never do it.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think there's also
I like feeling like he would never, because that's the thing too.
That's a beautiful, yeah.
If it happens, that's why it's like this unspoken thing. Like, if it happens, we've talked about it. It's like, be safe, please, because those are all those other elements. But like, if it happens, I kind of want to be in a blissful state of, he is so devoted to me, this would never occur. But also, it's like,
because I think there's something here. Like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I think what you're describing too is like, there is like a conversation. There is like, I think it's fucking cool. I think there's a lot of people out there that feel this way.
I think we need to rebel. Sorry. I'm just like there's like an epidemic of our culture, like feeling like everything that we do needs to have a title, needs to have a whole educational system behind it. If I'm going to be like this, I'm going to, it's like, actually, I like some rules because I love to rebel, and that gives me pleasure.
But I think that also what you're saying too is like a slight conversation around like breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Which is, these are the rules. Please don't break them. Let's love each other. But also, we love having this energy a little bit outside of the relationship. Yeah. And like, like these rules aren't, because I think a lot of people view like cheating and divorce like this failure. And I think what you're saying is like, let's have really strong guidelines. Almost like you're kind of saying like, these are rules, and there's something about our relationship where we're kind of both like, we love to rebel. Like, we're both a little rebellious in some way. There's something about, I don't know, I really like it, because I think for a lot of people that makes more sense than non-monogamy, and they don't say it. They don't know how to like describe it. I think there's a lot of pressure these days to like be like ethically not like, I mean, again, I think if you really want to be more, because you're also not talking about like really dating other people or like doing this on the regular.
Yeah.
Like,
it's about being open to the moment and being present in the moment.
Because I do think for me, a big part of having some non-monogamy built in is because when I feel like I just don't respond well to rules. Mm-hmm. And it makes it like, I think Mating in Captivity, the concept of that book is like, if you put two animals in a cage, they do not mate. Like that like being, and I feel that way. I feel like it's really important for me to remember that I can get a divorce. If I felt like I was trapped in this relationship, I don't want to be like, I don't want to be in the relationship simply because I don't want to be like, there's a feeling of being trapped.
Right.
So like, that is a big part of why I'm non-monogamous, is just knowing that there's like porousness in in our rules. But I also kind of, I don't know, there's something really intriguing about what you're talking about that I'm like, maybe I want that. Maybe I want, because like something in non-monogamy that I think like the concept of compersion, which is like, compersion is like when you see your partner like flirting with somebody else, that I guess it's like instead of jealousy or with jealousy, you also feel joy for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really beautiful
I think
concept.
that's what I would experience with my last partner.
Oh, you would? You would be like happy for them?
I would love.
I love jealousy. I love feeling jealous.
See, but I wouldn't. I dig that as a concept because I think it shows passion.
It does. It makes me feel like, oh my God, that's my man.
You have to protect.
Like I want him.
Yeah, and that's all really great.
Because normally I'm like.
But I think what's so nuanced because in that, when I'm saying like I would love when he flirted, it would be because he would offer me such devotion. It would be flirtation for flirtation's sake.
Okay, and you knew it, and
I
knew
it. And he did it because
he's
was so charismatic,
when he was
and
flirting.
he loves that, and we both enjoy making people feel.
Because I will say too, part of those moments where like I see somebody else like trying to flirt with my husband, I am like feeling that jealousy. It's like, that's mine. I feel a little bit of that. I feel like, wow, other people he also is sexy in that moment. So there is a part of me that's also like, I am feeling joy for his joy too. Like I think it's definitely like a yes
it's so healthy.
And.
Yeah.
Like compersion to me isn't the opposite of jealousy. It's like it could be another layer on top. I think a lot of people describe it as like this opposite feeling instead of jealousy. Let's feel compersion. But like, I think we can feel both at the same time. I don't know. I really, really like that. I think I want to be Italian.
I love it. And I also I've never actually done that. So to me, it's more of like a thought experiment.
But I just think there's almost like, I think in more liberal spaces, there's like this pressure to be more fluid.
Yeah.
And I think kind of being like, no, we're going to like have.
Yeah.
What was that? There's that guy, there's some spiritual leader who was like, what did he fucking call it? It's like aggressive monogamy where you are monogamous with more than one person. I forget what he called it.
Okay.
It was like, I don't like radical monogamy. It was like, but strict in I don't know. There's so many ways to define it. There's so many ways, like it is cool to see culture exploding with redefining what a relationship can look like.
It's just moments when you are with somebody and you meet somebody and there's a connection and you're in some kind of moment where you're taken away by these feelings. It's like
they happen less and less frequently.
It's so rare. So I'm like, I don't want to give that up because of that.
Those moments are so special.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because we're getting older that it feels like they don't happen as frequently, which I think is a part of it. Like I'm interacting with less people who are open to it because they're in partnered relationships. But I also sometimes wonder if like the kids are even having
the
that.
Times, yeah.
The times too have changed. Like I used to just like make eyes on the subway.
Yeah.
I feel like
people aren't making eyes anymore.
People aren't making eyes. Let's just make eyes.
Let's make eyes.
Okay, girl.
How fun is that? Yeah, those moments I live for.
I literally just feel like giggly in my body making eyes with you. Like, I know we're not gonna fuck, but like, do you?
But yeah. Oh, wait.
I do. Oh no, I'm sick. You definitely don't want to have sex with me.
Well, now we're not.
No.
No, but I live for those moments, and I do, feel like my mission now is to create more of those moments.
What is, you were talking about in your early 20s, like not feeling sexually connected. Do you feel more like, what is sex like for you now?
Sex for me now is interesting. Sometimes with Chakrubs, because they're made of crystal, a big part of it is sensitizing yourself.
What does that mean?
So when I started working with my own products, I felt very numb, like physically very numb.
Yeah.
And so a big part of it is to introduce energy, to allow your energy to circulate, in these energy centers so that you could feel more. So to me, sexuality is more sensuality. So it's like a full bodied, like all my senses, can I feel them more? Like I can get turned on by like anything because my senses are so heightened that if I just tune in, I realize like, oh my God, like these colors are incredible.
I think you would love having sex with my husband. I do. I really think so. He's also like your a sensual blueprint, like just really beautiful touch. Like those are the
But here's the thing is that I think that actually it's worked against me in recent years, where I think I've become so sensitive that now I think that I can get easily distracted by if I'm cold or if like something is a little bit off, if there's like a sound over here. Like I've become really highly sensitive that like a lot of these things need to be correct in order for me to feel
really like
safe in my body.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I definitely kind of felt when I tried to really let go of like performing that I lost something really beautiful about sex too, because I was like, I'm not gonna moan unless it's a really like primal.
Yeah.
Unless I really, really feel it.
Yeah.
And there is like a natural suppression that actually came with that versus like, okay, actually if I lean into the moans, that doesn't mean they're performative. I think that there's a grayness in this concept of performing.
And maybe you like to be performative.
I definitely like to be.
Maybe you enjoy the performance art
I love
of
like
it.
earlier when you were talking about being a doll, like a sex doll, I was like, so I'm like into that.
Yes.
I'm definitely less sensual
that.
and more kink is like and I want to be more sensual. I
think it can go hand in hand.
They can.
It 100% can, because that's one of my issues, if you want to call it that, is that people that I meet, they often think that I'm a certain way because I have a sex toy company, and I'm like, I don't think I'm actually any certain way.
I think that's so common. I can't like the people, like I think I'm like I was saying I'm kink, but what I really mean is more like the concept of like erotic blueprints of like the things that really turned me on. Like I've never been to a kink party.
Yeah.
I don't own like leather. Like I talk a lot about sex and then people have these assumptions about me, but like I've been to one play party ever. And I felt, I don't know, I didn't really get into it.
Yeah. I think we're very similar. Yeah.
But like, I think people are always surprised by that. And I talk a lot about non-monogamy. Over the summer we didn't even make out. I just had like a really great dance floor experience with somebody who then didn't call me the next day. But I honestly
it could have gone there and that would have been okay.
Honestly, even just being excited and being
so
like
healthy.
so let down was so fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, like if you ever start connecting with like how beautiful it feels to cry.
Yeah.
And then you're like, whoa, this is so crazy. I'm crying because I'm sad, but I also am noticing the sensation of the tears and noticing how beautiful that release of my emotion feels. That's like definitely how I felt with like, I'm sad, I'm upset, but
how beautiful is that?
I was so excited by being sad.
You're naming the exact ethos of Chakrubs, because with introducing this energetic thing to create more sensitivity to you, you do start to bridge this gap of sensuality being what you're saying, the tears falling down my face. I am human, so I'm feeling these things.
Oh, how beautiful.
So it's connecting, the spiritual side of it is you are connected to this place of you that exists before you were born and after you die, right? It's your energetic soul. So it's right now you're a human that is able to feel heartache. You're able to feel excitement. You're able to feel, tears and sadness and all the things in between. And once you recognize exactly what you're describing, like, oh, what a gift it is that I can feel that, then the dread of being a human starts to dissipate. And so that's really what it's about. It's about getting to that place of, hey, you are a human now, and that is all you have. So feel it.
I'm gonna I feel like what you're saying, it really connects to back to like Taoism.
Yeah.
Which again, like, I'm a white girl. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about entirely. I mean, I do in that I've read, but this, like, I think, and in Buddhism too, these philosophies I like love and connect with. And people will ask me like, oh, like, isn't like desire bad? Like this depending on how you read it, it's, literally be like, I think like connection to desire, when you connect to desire, you only see like the manifestation of that desire instead of like
what you actually
like, like there's a lot of using the word desire in a way that feels negative. But I think what is really important, it's really about being attached to the outcome of that desire. That's the problem. The problem is when you have desire and that desire isn't, you're attached to it. Meaning like, I want, I don't know, more money, a husband and kids or whatever it is. And like, you're so set on that all you can see is what you don't have.
Yeah.
But I think to be able to have like desire and passion and just not be attached to the outcome feels alive and feels really beautiful. And then you feel like you're circulating that energy within you. And that's kind of like how my interpretations of it, that when I've spoken to people, they're like, yes, that makes sense. That is, that is allowed.
Yeah. I think arousal is a good word. Desire, maybe has those more negative connotations when you are philosophical, but when you turn it to arousal, that's literally being awake in yourself.
Yeah.
And so if you can see your arousal as a call to your spirit that is needing to take that message from your body to create something, because arousal, if you look at sex as that metaphor, it's biologically to create something, right? So if you see arousal as this call from your spirit to create, that's why sexual energy is creative energy. Yeah. And so if a desire is maybe something outside of you that you can't attain or that if you don't get it, but if you instead look, I'm full of desire, so I'm going to create something with that energy right now.
I think that like the Taoist people would be like, yes, you guys get it. I think that's what they would say.
Cool.
Honestly, you want to talk a little bit about the acquisition?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. So Dame acquired Chakrubs a little bit over a year ago. I think I feel like people don't understand how you can, when you do business deals, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
I feel like just like in life where I'm like always looking for a guru, I was always looking for like, oh, what are you allowed to do? And they're like, you're allowed to do a lot of things. And I think what we did was really cool. Well, one, we knew each other for a while. We started talking about I think I always was like, look, I am convinced that I see other brands out there that are essentially house of brands and that there is efficiencies. I see how hard it is to be a small business, especially with buying inventory and staying in stock because of the cash flow cycles that we were talking about. Like I was just like really convinced that there was a way of like being a collective that would serve us. I think I let you know that like years ago. And for like 2 or 3 years, you'd call me up once a year and be like,
what are we talking here?
What are we talking here? Here's how my business is going. Yeah. And I think it literally took us years to figure out like what could work because I didn't know, but we ended up like offering, I think there's like a cash component, an equity component. So now you have a good chunk of equity in Dame. And we did a royalty, which was like, I think a really cool concept. Yeah. So you continue to make money based on the sales of Chakrubs, which is great for me because you work here, and you get a salary. Yeah. And you're incentivized to continue to grow Chakrubs, which I think was a really great part of it. but it wasn't like I just paid you a ton of cash and you're done now.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah. No, it was definitely more creative scaffolding.
Which took time,
and
but
it took time. Yeah. But I think that, it's really interesting when you approached.
I buy all your inventory now. We do all of your accounting and all that back end stuff.
Yeah.
We're still working on some of it. We want to get it right.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to like perfect it. Like Vanessa hand boxes all of the Chakrubs.
Yeah.
I would like her to stop doing that. But
Well, I have an assistant too that does that.
But they're still hand done in like with so much love.
So much love.
So much love.
Yeah.
And we have not been able yet to do it in a way that feels really good, that lines up more with the Dame system. So we can use Dame's Warehouse, which is what we're working on right now. But like, I also feel like, I don't know. I was so worried that I was going to want to do something that you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
That I was going to be like, oh.
I know. I mean, that was a huge worry.
Yeah. Like, and instead those came and we were both like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're like, absolutely not.
Same
I'm sure it's
page.
going to happen. I'm sure we're going to be not on the same page at some point.
Of course. But that's going to happen with any kind of partnership. And, Chakrubs has been, it's been small for all the years that I've been in operation. But
hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been small, but it's also been like a real fucking business.
Yeah, absolutely. But at one point I did have a number of employees working for me. So it's like, I was just saying,
thousands of dollars of revenue. I feel like that is
without any ad spend.
Are you so funny? Because people would always say this to me and I kind of would roll my eyes at them. But now I see it with when I'm talking to other women or anybody, which is like, it's so hard and it's so amazing to have accomplished what you've accomplished. Like, I think a lot of venture capitalists will say that to you and you're just kind of like, yes, but are you going to give me money?
Right.
It's like, I still, it's still really true. Like so
Thank
it was
you.
small, but like.
Small but mighty.
Small but mighty.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think like to bring it back to the beginning, it's like, anything that came in, I was putting back into the business. I was really investing.
Because you can be profitable and still not be making any money. Yeah. I feel like in an inventory-based business, that's like confusing to people. Yeah. But like, if you make, let's say you sell $100 of products and you make $10, you need to take that $10 and buy more product.
Yeah. So it was in that, process. But I was going to say, I feel for you, even though like I was at a smaller scale when I had employees and people working under me. I don't know if you feel like this, but there was this thing of like, oh my God, you're here making my dream come true. I want to make sure that you are,
with like my
experiencing your dream too, or like there's like a pressure of, when people are working towards your vision.
Yeah.
So I've just been like, I wonder how you feel like knowing that you acquired Chakrubs too, and like with these people that are.
I think one of my most toxic traits is that like how badly I want to be viewed as a good boss.
Mm-hmm. Which you are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that. I'm not always I definitely have not always been a great boss. And I also think wanting so badly my employees' approval has led me to actually be a terrible boss on occasion because I'm putting their feelings on top of making the hard decisions that I needed to make. And I actually think, and this is so true in parenting, people want you to lead. People want you to make those hard decisions and they just want to be mad at you for making the hard decisions too a little bit. Yeah. And exactly. That's the role.
Yeah, exactly. So I've experienced that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand that kind of pressure, and that was a learning experience for me too, where I feel like there were moments in developing Chakrubs that when I started to have employees, and I would sometimes put their vision prioritize their vision over the brand vision, because I was so grateful that these people were spending their time, you know? So it's a interesting
I think saying it out loud really, really helps. Being like, I see your vision and I really respect it. Here's how it's different than mine.
Yeah.
we need to go with my vision because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, I'm the one that has to make these really tough calls.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, we followed your, like, and also, of course, if I can also articulate why I think their vision doesn't align with the brand, I try and do that, especially when we're talking about marketing things. It's so subjective.
Yeah.
Because I have also felt too, sometimes when I just let somebody really run with their vision, it's just better because they have like this vision.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, it doesn't have full brand alignment though.
Yeah.
It's clearly like, to me, and maybe it's because I'm seeing it from the inside where I'm like, that's their project.
Right.
Maybe they should just go do it outside of Dame or something. It's hard. It's nice having founders work for and with you because I think there's an immediate like understanding of what it's like to be in my role. I literally was just watching a TikTok of this girl who's like, a TikTok, I think it was an Instagram reel. Sorry, Instagram. But like where she was like, she made her whole platform was kind of about like taking down corporate America, which like there's a huge audience for that. People love taking down corporate America and hating on bosses. And she was talking about how she found like the nicest, this guy who makes content all around being like a really values-based, like great leader and has like what I have, which is like a very like plucky
is such a good word for you.
Yeah, thank you. Like a plucky, I highly identify as plucky. Like a plucky twee kind of like business can be good, you know, like a noble, like feeling like kind of noble about it, which is feels like such a crazy idea in today's day and age. We just all love to hate on capitalism and our bosses. And I don't know, she was talking just about that and about how there are very few like fictional characters too that we see where they're like, oh, there's a good boss in this show. And we're like,
it's
wow,
the villain typically,
they're almost
right?
typically the villain. And yeah, I definitely, but I think there's some good ones. I feel like Leslie Knope.
I love Leslie.
We love Leslie Knope. I mean, I do think sometimes her passion makes her sometimes a little unaware of other people's time. I think Captain Janeway in Star Trek Voyager. I would say all the Star Trek, like, where we do see good versions, I think often of leadership is when they're a little bit more in, definitely in outer space. They're definitely in outer space. Star Trek does a great job of showing leadership. I would say Picard does a great job too. I think he's a little emotionally distant sometimes. But then he has like these glimmers of connection.
Yeah.
But there's also so many, it's crazy because not only are there so few, but there's so many different wonderful ways of being a leader.
Yeah.
There's not just one way of doing it that's right, which is hard because like, man, I wish there was.
Yeah.
I'd follow that. Somebody like, just show me the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a joy working with you because I feel like you see my struggles sometimes really honestly and like are just like,
yeah, I think
nice.
more than we can even discuss, but yeah, it's an interesting thing because it is like we have watched each other for all these years.
I remember meeting you. I remember because we were actually in that building, like right over there.
Oh my God.
Because it was at She
yes.
It was at the
Sexual
Expo.
Health Expo.
Yeah, and I had followed you for so long, and I loved your products, and I had like a little girl crush, and couldn't get. I remember like you were so kind, and you're so
thank you
relatable, and yeah. Like you were as cool as I thought you were going to be, but you weren't like too cool. I thought you were going to be like too cool.
No, I am warm, hopefully.
You're so warm.
Yeah, I do not concern myself with being cool. I concern myself with being warm. And that's how I also gauge people.
I concern myself highly with both being cool and being liked. So those are problematic, but I do think it's a nice pair.
That is a nice pair.
At least it's a good pair. It's a good pair.
Yeah, but I think warmth is I think if you're
being warm, I think is actually a better goal than being liked.
Yeah, if you're warm, right? Because you will be liked by the people that resonate
really
with that,
love
you know?
trying to like look people in their eyes and see if I could see their soul.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Do you see my
I
soul?
see your soul.
What does it look
I
like?
think it's such a, I love feeling like when I really just, also when I feel like it just naturally happens, that's probably when I most feel alive.
Yeah.
But I can also push myself to do it more.
Yeah.
And that is me at least pretending to be my higher self, which helps me like live in my higher self. And I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably one of the reasons why I've loved doing the podcast is just getting to really sit down with another human being and talk to them.
It's so nice.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Pleasure, joy.